Hi, I'm Heta Pandit, author of 11 books on Goa's architecture and culture, Goan heritage. And I think now it's about time that I dispel some myths that are prevalent in Goa today and outside Goa as well. One of the most famous myths is that these houses that we all live in are Portuguese houses. This myth has been built up by the real estate lobby, by the brokers who want to add value to the Goan houses that Goans have built for Goans, by Goans, with Goan craftsmanship. So let us dispel that myth first and not call them Portuguese houses. Let's call them what they are, Goan heritage houses. Like in a lot of homes, you enter from the back in a Goan house. This is the back balcon or sopo. The benches are constructed in laterite stone, which was the main building stone in Goa for ages, for both churches, temples, and houses. And why we had a sopo at the back was there were some people who were welcomed in the front doors and some who were welcomed at the back door. For example, the fisherman or the bread man or some debtor who had taken a loan from the bhatkar or the landlord, he would be welcomed from the back. Much has been written and talked about the Goan balcon. This is an inside-outside space which was used by Goan residents to sit here and interact with their neighbors, with passing by vendors, with passers-by. So it's also a social screening device in a way, you can say. Sometimes there are lots and lots of steps in the front. And sometimes you have seats, balcon seats, going right down these steps. I have seen houses with up to 24 seats, 12 on each side, on all the 24 steps. This added grandeur, posture, importance to a Goan house. Goan houses have many influences from all over the world. Sometimes there are influences from churches. What are the common elements that churches and houses share? 3 common elements. 1, high ceilings. Both houses and churches have. Covering of the roof is Mangalore tiles. Both houses and churches have it. And sometimes the flooring is also very similar to what we see in Goan houses and churches. Now let's talk about the furniture in Goan houses. Earlier, we didn't have furniture. Furniture has come to Goa either influenced by the churches or influenced from bungalows in Bombay. Chinchpokli, Mazagaon, they all had these beautiful furniture pieces from Parsi homes and wealthy Catholic homes, and that influence came to Goa. Let me show you a few pieces that I have in my own house. This bench, for example, has come from a church pew. Now, nothing in furniture or costume, for example, is ever by design. It's always accidental design, designed by accident. To keep the balance of the benches, these curvatures were drawn in and carved out so that the bench wouldn't wobble in the church. And this bench also is an influence from the church furniture. Now that grandpa's chair, that's my grandfather's chair actually. That is called a planter's chair. Why is it called a planter's chair? It's called a planter's chair because the tea planters in Sri Lanka, that time Ceylon, they used to sit here, recline with their little books or their little drink in the evening at sundown and so on. They used to flip the wings open and rest their legs over this, and almost every Goan house will have a chair like this. So another influence from the churches is in the altars in Goan homes. Altars can be very elaborate, they can be a separate room by itself, or it can be a simple altar like this one, carved out by a Goan craftsman, and Goans were master craftspeople in carpentry especially and ivory. And here you can see the influence of the Rococo design. In a lot of Goan houses, you'll see that the front door opens into the next door, into the next door, and the next door. And you can see like a tunnel of light through the house, and the rooms are on either side of this tunnel of light. In Portuguese, it's called enfilada, but it has nothing to do with Portuguese architecture. In fact, this kind of house you will never see in Portugal. This is a very Indian influence because in the old days it was customary when you built a new house to invite a cow to walk through the front door right to the back door. Now, of course, we don't do that. We take still symbolically a silver cow or a fiberglass cow through the house from front to back. We often see lions on gate posts in Goan houses. Where do these lions come from? Lions are a symbol of courage, honor, pride, family reputation, and posture. Now, where did these lions come from? We don't know. Here we are at the Reish Magos church, dedicated to the three kings, and we see lions at the bottom of the stairs. These are the Vijayanagar lions, and it's possible that there was a temple here with the two lions on either side of the bottom of the stairs. Must have been a bit closer like this, like they are in other parts of Karnataka as well. And there used to be a custom where the light or lamp used to be kept burning all night. We are on the bank of the Mandovi river, and this lamp probably guided ships like a pilot light. I'm in Fontaines in Panjim, and I'm standing outside a house which has an altar, a niche in the wall. You'll see many houses like this with niches in the walls. This may be an influence from churches that have similar figures or figurines on the exterior, on the frontispiece or front of the church. Passers-by can venerate at these altars, they can pay obeisance, they can file for an appeal or send a prayer. This is how a private space becomes a public space in a Goan house. A lot of people think that the missionaries that came from Europe were Portuguese, but that was not the case. Missionaries came from various parts of Europe. They came from Spain, they came from Italy, and of course some from Portugal. The only two European designed churches in Goa are St. Cajetan, which is behind me, and the Say Cathedral. Otherwise, all the other churches have Indian influences that Professor Jose Pereira called the Goan Baroque. You see what is called a pan patti. That is the awning just above me. You will see similar awnings or pan pattis both in churches and houses. Now we have seen how churches have influenced houses, how houses have also influenced churches and the architecture, and also the influences on Goan houses from people who built the houses, from people who design the houses, from people who live in these houses. A beautiful mix of influences, of personalities, travels, and how people went for studies abroad and came back with different ideas and contributed to the houses of Goa.